Captain Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of his ship, looking out at the stars. The Soul's Pride was not the biggest ship in space, but it was fast and strong. It had been his home for 3 years now, moving around the edge of human space like a guard dog watching for trouble. The year was 2387, and humans had 12 star systems. Not many compared to other races in the galaxy, but they were good systems with strong planets. Earth was still the heart of human space, but New Busan, New Seoul, and 10 other worlds were growing fast. "Captain," said Yoonji from her station. She was young but very good with the communication systems. "I'm getting something strange on the long-range sensors." Hyun-woo walked over to her station. The screen showed dots moving toward them from deep space. Too many dots. "How many ships?" 40, sir. Maybe more. They're big ones, too." So Young looked up from her engineering station. She was older than the others and had seen many battles. "Those are warships, Captain. Heavy ones. I can tell by their energy signatures." Dong-min was already checking his weapons systems. He was the ship's tactical officer and always ready for a fight. "They're not responding to our identification requests, and they're coming straight into human space without permission." Hyun-woo felt his stomach tighten. 40 warships was more than his small patrol fleet could handle. The Soul's Pride had 7 other ships with it, but they were all small patrol vessels, good for stopping pirates or smugglers, but not for fighting a real war fleet. "Send a message to Admiral Taeho at New Busan Station," Hyun-woo said. "Tell him we have unknown warships entering the Kepler 442 system. 40-plus contacts, military class." Eunji's fingers moved fast over her controls. "Message sent, sir. Admiral Taeho is responding." The main screen lit up with the Admiral's face. Taeho was an old man with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had been fighting for human space since the early days when they first left Earth. "Captain Hyun-woo, I see your report. We're tracking the same ships from our deep space sensors. They're definitely military vessels, and they're not from any race we have treaties with." "Orders, sir?" "Follow standard first contact protocols. Try to talk to them, find out what they want, but be ready for anything." The screen went dark. Hyun-woo looked around at his crew. They all had the same worried look on their faces. First, contact with unknown aliens was always dangerous. Some races were friendly, others were not. "Yoonji, open a channel to the unknown ships." "Channel open, sir." "Unknown vessels, this is Captain Hyun-woo of the Human Defense Force ship Soul's Pride. You are entering human space without permission. Please identify yourselves and state your business." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then the main screen filled with an alien face. It was reptilian with red eyes and sharp teeth. Scars covered its face, and it wore what looked like military armor. "I am War Commander Vexthal of the Velkari Hegemony," the alien said. Its voice was deep and rough. "Your pathetic little fleet will stand down immediately. This system now belongs to the Velkari Empire." Hyun-woo had never heard of the Velkari before, but he didn't like their attitude. "War Commander, you are in violation of human territorial space. Turn your ships around and leave immediately." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "Human? What is a human? Another weak race that will bow to Velkari might." The alien leaned forward. "We have conquered 67 worlds and absorbed 23 different species into our empire. Your 12 little systems will make a nice addition." So Young whispered, "Captain, their ships are powering up weapons." Dong-min was already at his station. "All ships in our patrol fleet are reporting ready for combat, but sir, we're seriously outnumbered." Hyun-woo thought about Admiral Taeho's words. Be ready for anything. The Admiral had been preparing for this day for years. Ever since humans first went to the stars, they knew they would eventually meet hostile aliens. "War Commander Vexthal," Hyun-woo said, keeping his voice calm. "You have 10 minutes to turn your ships around and leave human space. This is your only warning!" The alien's red eyes grew wide. Then it started laughing. Other Velkari voices could be heard laughing in the background. You dare threaten us with 8 tiny ships against our 40 dreadnoughts? You humans must be even more stupid than you look. Yunji was listening to the communication channels. Sir, they're talking to each other. I think they're planning to attack. So young. What's the status of our special systems? The engineer smiled. It was not. A nice smile. All systems ready, Captain. The new upgrades are working perfectly. Dongmin checked his weapons one more time. All ships report ready. Weapons are hot and targeting systems are locked. Hyunwoo looked at the alien on the screen. War Commander Vexthal was still laughing. Humans are like all the other weak races we have conquered. Big words, but no real strength. We will destroy your ships first, then take your worlds. Your people will serve the Velkari Empire or die. The 10 minutes are up, Hyunwoo said quietly. What? The alien stopped laughing. I gave you 10 minutes to leave. Time's up. Hyunwoo turned to his crew. All ships, this is Seoul's pride. The unknown vessels have refused to leave human space and have threatened our worlds. You are authorized to engage. Repeat, you are authorized to engage. The alien on the screen snarled. You dare to attack us? We will crush you like insects. Yunji, cut the channel, Hyunwoo said. The screen went dark. For a moment, the bridge was quiet. Outside, the Velkari ships were moving into attack formation. Their weapons were charging up, ready to fire. Captain, So-young said softly, they have no idea what they're about to face. Hyunwoo nodded. The Velkari thought humans were just another weak race to be conquered. They had no idea that humans had been preparing for this moment since they first left Earth. They didn't know about the new weapons, the new defenses, or the new tactics that Admiral Taeho and his planners had developed. Most importantly, they didn't understand what humans really were. They saw the small ships and small fleet and thought they were facing prey. They were about to learn that humans were not prey. They were predators, and someone had just threatened their home. All ships, prepare for combat, Hyunwoo said. Show them what happens when someone enters human space uninvited. The war was about to begin. War Commander Vexthal watched the human ships on his tactical display. 8 small vessels against his 40 massive dreadnoughts. The humans were either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. In his experience, most weak races were simply stupid. Target. Their lead ship, he ordered his weapons officer. Fire 1 plasma torpedo. Let's show these humans what real power looks like. The bright green torpedo streaked across space toward the Seoul's pride. On the human ship, alarms started ringing. Incoming plasma torpedo, Dongmin announced. Impact in 15 seconds. So young, are you ready? Captain Hyunwoo asked. The engineer's hands moved over her controls. Adaptive shields coming online now, sir. The Velkari torpedo hit the human ship exactly where it was supposed to. War Commander Vexthal expected to see the ship explode or at least lose its shields. Instead, something impossible happened. The human ship absorbed the plasma energy. The bright green fire of the torpedo disappeared into the ship's shields. Then, a moment later, the same green energy shot back out toward the Velkari fleet. What? Vexthal stared at his screens. That's impossible. How did they do that? The returned plasma energy hit one of his own ships. The dreadnought's shields flickered and went down. Emergency lights started flashing on the Velkari vessel. Sir, his tactical officer said, they somehow absorbed our weapon and sent it back at us. On the Seoul's pride, So-young was smiling. Adaptive shield technology working perfectly, Captain. We absorbed 90% of their torpedo's energy and redirected the rest back at them. Excellent work, Hyunwoo said. Now let's show them what human tactics look like. Dongmin, signal all ships. Formation pattern 7. Pattern 7, aye, sir. The 8 human ships suddenly moved in a way that confused the Velkari. Instead of staying in a straight line like most space fleets, they spread out and began moving like they were hunting something. Hyunwoo had studied old Earth naval battles for years. His favorite was Admiral Yi Sun-sin's victory at Myeongyang, where 13 Korean ships defeated over 300 Japanese ships. The key was not to fight like the enemy expected, but to use speed, tactics, and the enemy's own strength against them. Yunji, open channels to all human ships. Put our battle song on all frequencies, including the Valkyrie communication channels. Aye, sir. Suddenly, the space around the battle filled with sound. It was an old Korean war song, mixed with the sounds of wolves howling. The human ships began moving like a pack of wolves surrounding larger prey. On the Valkyrie command ship, officers were looking around in confusion. "What is that noise?" "It's coming from the human ships," the communication officer reported. "They're broadcasting some kind of war cry." War Commander Vexthal snarled. "Psychological warfare, primitive tactics. All ships, attack formation, destroy those human vessels now." But when the Valkyrie ships tried to form up for attack, they found that the humans were no longer where they expected them to be. The human ships were moving fast, using hit-and-run tactics. They would appear from one direction, fire their weapons, then disappear before the Valkyrie could respond. Captain Hyunwoo watched his tactical display. "Dongmin, target their engine sections. We want to disable them, not just destroy them." "Targeting engines, sir." The human weapons were different from what the Valkyrie expected. Instead of big plasma cannons or missile launchers, the humans used kinetic weapons, metal slugs moving at incredible speed. Simple but effective. The first Valkyrie ship to get hit found its engines damaged. It began spinning out of control. The second ship lost its main power. The third ship's weapon systems went offline. "Sir," the Valkyrie tactical officer reported, "we can't get a target lock on them. They're moving too fast and their ships are too small." War Commander Vexthal was getting angry. "They're just humans. We outnumber them 5-1. How are they winning?" He didn't understand that humans had been fighting each other for thousands of years before they ever went to space. They had learned every kind of warfare there was. They knew how to fight bigger enemies, stronger enemies, and more numerous enemies. Most importantly, they understood something the Valkyrie did not. War was not just about having bigger ships or more weapons. War was about breaking the enemy's will to fight. On the Soul's Pride, Yunji was monitoring the Valkyrie communications. "Captain, they're starting to panic. Their commanders are shouting at each other." "Good," Hyunwoo said. "Dongmin, focus fire on their command ship. Let's give their war commander something to really worry about." The human ships converged on the Valkyrie flagship like wolves attacking the leader of a rival pack. Their kinetic weapons hammered the big ship's shields and armor. War Commander Vexthal felt his ship shake under the attack. "Return fire! All weapons on that human ship!" But every time the Valkyrie tried to target a human ship, it would disappear behind an asteroid or use some kind of stealth technology. The humans were fighting like ghosts. So Young was working hard at her engineering station. "Captain, the new stealth systems are working perfectly. We can phase in and out of their sensor range at will." "Excellent. How long can we keep this up?" "Hours, sir. Maybe days. Our power systems are much more efficient than theirs." On the Valkyrie flagship, damage reports were coming in from all over the fleet. Ships were losing engines, weapons, and shields. Some were completely dead in space. "How many ships have we lost?" Vexthal demanded. 12 ships destroyed, sir. 8 more ships too damaged to fight. And we still haven't destroyed a single human vessel. Vexthal couldn't believe it. His mighty fleet was being defeated by 8 small ships. It was impossible. It was humiliating. "Send a message to the hegemony," he ordered. "Tell them we need reinforcements." "What should we tell them about the humans, sir?" Vexthal looked at his tactical display. The human ships were still moving around his fleet like predators. They weren't just fighting. They were hunting. "Tell them," he said slowly, "that these humans are not like the other races we have conquered. They fight like demons." On the Soul's Pride, Captain Hyunwoo was listening to the intercepted Valkyrie communications. The enemy was breaking. Some ships were trying to retreat. Others were just floating dead in space. Yunji sent a message to Admiral Tae-ho. Tell him the first phase is complete. What about the Velkari survivors, sir? Hyunwoo thought about it. Let some of them escape. Make sure they can tell their friends what happened here. Sir, someone needs to carry the message back to their empire. The message that humans are not easy prey. As the battle ended, 17 Velkari ships limped away into deep space. 23 ships were left floating dead or damaged in human space. War Commander Vexthal was wounded and his flagship was barely working. The human fleet had not lost a single ship. In the Velkari escape ships, frightened soldiers were talking in whispers. They had come to conquer what they thought was a weak race. Instead, they had found something else entirely. They had found predators. The news of the Velkari defeat spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In the great trading stations and diplomatic centers, aliens gathered around communication screens to hear the impossible story. 8 human ships defeated 40 Velkari dreadnoughts? That can't be right. The Velkari have conquered dozens of worlds. Maybe the humans had help. Secret allies or bought weapons from someone else. Supreme Admiral Korthmax of the Velkari hegemony did not believe the reports at first. When the survivors finally reached Velkari space, he interrogated them personally. You're telling me that primitive humans defeated our finest war fleet? War Commander Vexthal was still bandaged from his injuries. Sir, they were not what we expected. Their ships had technology we have never seen. They fought like nothing we have encountered before. Impossible. Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. We have been conquering worlds for thousands of years. But the evidence was clear. 23 Velkari ships destroyed or captured. Hundreds of Velkari warriors dead. And the humans had not lost a single vessel. Supreme Admiral Korthmax was furious. The Velkari hegemony had a reputation to maintain. They were the strongest military force in this part of the galaxy. If word spread that humans had defeated them, other races might start getting ideas about resisting Velkari expansion. Assemble the Grand Fleet, he ordered. 200 ships, our best commanders, our strongest warriors. We will crush these humans completely and make an example of them. Meanwhile, in human space, Admiral Tae-ho was preparing for exactly this response. He had been planning for Galactic War since humans first met other alien races. He knew that any show of human strength would eventually bring a massive retaliation. Dr. Ji-hoon, are all our special projects ready? The Admiral asked. The head of Human Defense Research nodded. Yes, sir. The new ship designs are complete. The asteroid defense platforms are in place, and the AI tactical networks are online. What about Protocol Gangnung? All preparations are complete, Admiral. Every human world knows their part in the plan. Protocol Gangnung was named after the city where Earth's greatest military strategists had first gathered to plan for interstellar warfare. It was humanity's ultimate defense strategy, but it required perfect timing and absolute trust. 3 weeks later, the Velkari Grand Fleet arrived at the edge of human space. 200 massive warships, the largest military force the Velkari had ever assembled. Supreme Admiral Korthmax stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. Sir, his sensor operator reported, we're detecting the human systems, but there's something strange. What? I'm not picking up any defense fleets, no orbital stations. The human worlds appear to be empty. Korthmax frowned. That's impossible. Our intelligence reports showed millions of humans on those worlds. Sir, I'm scanning New Busan, New Seoul, and the other human colonies. I'm detecting cities and infrastructure, but no military defenses, no ships. It's like they all just disappeared. The Supreme Admiral thought about this. It had to be a trap. But what kind of trap? Even if the humans had hidden their fleets, they couldn't have evacuated entire planets. We advance carefully, he decided. Full scanner sweeps. Battle formation. If this is a trap, we'll be ready for it. The Velkari fleet moved deeper into human space. System after system appeared empty of military forces. The planets were still there, the cities were still there, but there were no human ships to be found anywhere. On a small asteroid hidden in the outer system, Captain So Young watched the Velkari fleet through her ship's sensors. The Incheon's Shadow was one of 30 stealth ships positioned throughout human space. They were invisible to Velkari scanners, and they were about to show the invaders what human pack hunting really meant. All stealth units. This is Shadow. Leader, she whispered into her communication system. The prey has entered the hunting ground. Begin the hunt. Supreme Admiral Korthmax was starting to feel uneasy. His fleet had been moving through human space for 6 hours, and they had encountered no resistance at all. It was too quiet, too easy. Sir, his tactical officer reported, we've lost contact with the destroyer Bloodfang. What? How? Unknown. Sir, they were on our left flank. Their signal just disappeared. Korthmax stared at his tactical display. One moment there had been a dot representing the Bloodfang. Now there was nothing. Send 2 ships to investigate. 10 minutes later, both investigation ships also disappeared from sensors. Sir, the communication officer said nervously, I'm picking up a transmission. It's on all frequencies. Put it on speakers. A human voice filled the bridge. It was calm and cold. Velkari Fleet, this is Captain So Young of the Human Defense Force. Welcome to our space. You wanted to hunt humans. Now you get to learn what it feels like to be hunted. Find that transmission source, Korthmax shouted. Target it and destroy it. But there was nothing to target. The human ship was completely invisible to their sensors. Another Velkari ship vanished from the tactical display. Then another. The humans were picking off his ships one by one, and he couldn't even see them. All ships, defensive formation. Watch for attacks from any direction. But it didn't help. The humans weren't attacking from one direction. They were everywhere and nowhere. They would appear just long enough to destroy a Velkari ship, then disappear again. Captain So Young and her. Stealth ships were using tactics learned from Earth's deadliest predators. Like wolves separating weak animals from the herd, they isolated individual Velkari ships and destroyed them quickly. Like sharks attacking from below, they struck from unexpected angles. Like human soldiers in guerrilla warfare, they used the environment itself as a weapon. Sir, the Velkari sensor operator reported, I'm detecting explosions in the asteroid field. It looks like some of the asteroids are moving. Moving asteroids? They're not asteroids, sir. They're human weapons platforms. Kinetic bombardment. Systems. They're launching asteroids at our ships like guided missiles. Supreme Admiral Korthmax watched in horror as the rocks themselves seemed to come alive and attack his fleet. The humans had turned all of space into a weapon. But the worst part was the communication channels. The humans were broadcasting on all Velkari frequencies. Not threats or demands, but sounds. The howling of earth wolves. The clicking sounds that human soldiers made when they were hunting. Sometimes, just the sound of human laughter. Sir, his communication officer whispered, they're playing with us, like predators playing with their prey. In 6 hours, the mighty Velkari Grand Fleet lost 60 ships. Not to a great space battle, but to an invisible enemy that struck without warning and vanished without a trace. All ships, Korthmax finally ordered. Retreat to the edge of human space. We need to regroup and develop new tactics. But as the Velkari fleet tried to retreat, they found that escape was not going to be easy. The humans followed them, still picking off ships. The hunters had become the hunted, and the humans were not going to let them go easily. Captain So Young spoke, one more time on the open channel. Running away, Supreme Admiral? But you just got here. We were having so much fun. Korthmax realized with growing terror that the humans weren't just defending their space. They were enjoying this. They were predators who had found worthy prey, and they were savoring every moment of the hunt. Supreme Admiral Korthmax thought the nightmare would end when his fleet reached the edge of human space. He was wrong. The humans followed them. For 3 days, the human stealth ships continued their attacks. They would appear without warning, destroy a Velkari vessel, then vanish again. The Velkari had no way to fight back against an enemy they couldn't see. By the time the surviving Velkari ships finally escaped human space, they had lost 90 ships from their original fleet of 200. The mighty Velkari Grand Fleet had been cut in half by an enemy that seemed to be made of shadows. But the humans were not finished with them. Captain Minho commanded a squadron of human interceptor ships called the Ghost Pack. His pilots were some of the best in human space. Jin, who could fly through an asteroid field at full speed, Jae-won, who had never missed a target, and Hyerim, who could make her ship do things that seemed impossible. "All units, this is Ghost Leader," Minho said into his communications system. "The Velkari are trying to escape to their home systems. Our orders are to follow them and make sure they remember this lesson." "Copy that, Ghost Leader," Jin replied. "Should we destroy them all?" "Negative. We want survivors. Scared survivors who will tell stories." The Ghost Pack followed the retreating Velkari ships into deep space. But they didn't attack like a normal military force. Instead, they used psychological warfare tactics that humans had perfected over thousands of years of fighting each other. First, they would let the Velkari ships think they were safe. Then, in the middle of the night cycle, when the alien crews were trying to sleep, the humans would broadcast terrifying sounds over the communication channels. The screams of dying Velkari from the battles, the howling of Earth wolves, sometimes just the sound of human breathing, slow and patient. Jae-won was particularly good at this kind of warfare. "Velkari ships, this is the Ghost Pack. We know you're out there. We can see you, but you can't see us. How does it feel to be prey?" The psychological pressure was breaking the Velkari crews. Some ships changed course, trying to find a different route home. Others increased speed, trying to outrun their invisible stalkers. A few simply stopped, their crews too scared to continue. Colonel Yoon-ji, now in charge of human psychological operations, was coordinating the campaign from her command ship. She had studied every known alien race for years, learning their fears, their weaknesses, their cultural pressure points. "The Velkari believe in strength and dominance," she explained to her team. "When they can't fight back, when they feel helpless, it breaks something fundamental in their thinking." Her broadcasts to the fleeing Velkari were carefully designed to destroy their confidence. "Velkari warriors, you came to our space with 200 ships. How many do you have left? Your Supreme Admiral promised you easy conquest. How does it feel to be defeated by a species you thought was weak?" But the humans had learned something important about the Velkari during their battles. Dr. Ji-hoon's research teams had been studying the alien invaders, analyzing their technology, their tactics, and their psychology. "The Velkari have conquered other races by making them afraid," Ji-hoon reported to Admiral Tae-ho. "They use overwhelming force and psychological intimidation, but they've never faced an enemy that could turn those same tactics against them." "What do you recommend, Doctor?" "We don't just defeat them, we make them afraid of us. We show the entire galaxy what happens when someone threatens human space." The campaign continued for weeks. Human ships appeared in Velkari trade routes, not to attack merchant vessels, but to broadcast messages. "Tell your government what you saw in human space. Tell them what happened to your grand fleet." On the Velkari homeworlds, refugees from the invasion were arriving with stories that no one wanted to believe. Humans who could turn invisible. Human ships that could appear from nowhere. Human tactics that defied all military logic. "They don't fight like civilized species," one surviving captain reported. "They fight like wild animals, like predators." Supreme Admiral Korthmax was in disgrace. He had lost over half his fleet to a species that was supposed to be easy prey. The Velkhari High Command was demanding explanations. How could humans defeat our finest warriors? The Supreme Hegemarch asked. Sir, they are not what our intelligence reports suggested. They have technology we don't understand, tactics we have never encountered, and they seem to enjoy combat in a way that disturbs our troops. Enjoy combat? Yes, sir. They were laughing. During the battles, broadcasting their joy at fighting us. Our soldiers have never faced an enemy that seemed happy to be in combat. The truth was, humans had been preparing for galactic warfare since they first realized they were not alone in the universe. While other species had been focused on trade, diplomacy, or expansion, humans had been studying war. They had analyzed every known conflict in galactic history. They had studied the tactics of every major military force. Most importantly, they had looked at their own history and recognized that humans were very, very good at warfare. Captain Min Ho's ghost pack finally stopped following the Velkhari survivors when they reached the edge of Velkhari space. But before they left, Min Ho sent one final message. This is Captain Min Ho of the Human Defense Force. We're going home now. But remember this. You attacked our space with 200 ships. 37 are returning. Tell your leaders, tell your people, tell anyone who will listen. Humans do not start wars, but we finish them. The surviving Velkhari ships limped home to find their empire in chaos. News of the defeat had spread through their territory. Some subject races were starting to rebel, thinking that if humans could defeat the mighty Velkhari, maybe they could too. But the most disturbing reports were coming from the Velkhari intelligence services. Human ships had been spotted in neutral space near other alien territories. Not attacking, not invading, just watching. What are they doing? The Supreme Hegemarch asked. We think they're studying us, sir, learning about our allies, our trade, routes, our weaknesses. They're preparing for something. Preparing for what? We don't know, sir. But based on what we've seen, when humans prepare for something, it usually ends badly for their enemies. In human space, Admiral Tae-ho was reviewing the battle reports. The first phase of the human response had been a complete success. The Velkhari had been defeated, demoralized, and sent home with their tails between their legs. But Tae-ho knew this was not over. The galaxy was watching. Some species would be impressed by human military skill and want to be allies. Others would be frightened and might try to attack humans before they became too strong. Dr. Ji-hoon, what's the status of our intelligence gathering? Excellent, Admiral. Our stealth ships have visited 17 different alien territories in the past month. We now have detailed information about every major military force within 50 light-years of human space. And our message to the galaxy? Broadcasting on all frequencies, sir. Any species that wants to trade, talk, or visit human space is welcome. But anyone who comes with hostile intentions will face the same fate as the Velkhari. The message was simple but effective. Humans had announced themselves to the galaxy not as victims or conquerors, but as something much more dangerous. Patient predators who became terrifying when their territory was threatened. The galaxy had learned a new rule. Enter human space uninvited and you might not return at all. The surviving Velkhari ships arrived at their homeworld 3 months after the invasion had begun. What should have been a victory celebration became a funeral march. Of the 200 ships that had left Velkhari space, only 37 returned. Supreme, Admiral Korthmak stood before the Velkhari High Command, his career in ruins. The Supreme Hegemarch stared at him with cold eyes. Explain to me how the mighty Velkhari military was defeated by a handful of primitive humans. Sir, they are not primitive. Their technology is advanced in ways we didn't expect. Their tactics are unlike anything we have studied, and their warriors fight with a ferocity that broke our soldiers' morale. You're saying that humans are better warriors than Velkhari? Korthmax hesitated. The truth was hard to admit. Sir, humans appear to have been bred for warfare. They enjoy combat. They hunt like predators. Our troops were trained to fight civilized enemies, not whatever humans really are. But as the Velkari leadership argued about their defeat, something impossible was happening outside their home world. Long-range sensors began detecting ships approaching the Velkari system. Human ships. "Sir," a terrified sensor operator reported, "I'm reading multiple contacts entering our system. They're not responding to our identification requests." "How many ships?" 50. No, wait, 100. "Sir, they're appearing everywhere. I don't understand how they got past our defenses. Supreme." Admiral Korthmax felt his blood turn cold. "Put the planetary defenses on full alert. All available ships to defensive positions." But the human fleet made no aggressive moves. They simply positioned themselves around the Velkari homeworld and waited. Then, on every communication channel, in Velkari space, a human voice began speaking. It was calm, clear, and somehow more terrifying than any battle cry. "People of the galaxy, this is Fleet Admiral Su Jin of the Human Defense Force. Today, the Velkari hegemony learned why no one enters human space uninvited." Throughout the galaxy, aliens stopped what they were doing to listen. In the great trading stations, diplomatic centers, and military headquarters, everyone wanted to hear what the humans had to say. "The Velkari came to our homes with 240 ships of war. They came to conquer our worlds and enslave our people. 37 ships returned to tell the tale." Admiral Su Jin continued her broadcast from the bridge of her flagship, positioned directly above the Velkari capital city. Around her, Captain Hyunwoo, Dr. Ji-hoon, Engineer So-young, and the other heroes of the human defense stood quietly. "We are not conquerors. We are not expansionists. We are protectors of our worlds, our people, and our freedom. But when threatened, we remember what we truly are." On the Velkari homeworld, millions of aliens stared up at the sky where human ships hung like dark stars. They had never seen their mighty military so helpless. To any species considering expansion into human space, you are welcome as friends, as traders, as guests. Come in peace and you will find peace. But come with weapons, come with conquest in mind, and you will learn why Earth's apex predator was never the lion, the tiger, or the shark. Admiral Su Jin paused, letting her words sink in across the galaxy. It was us. Supreme Admiral Korthmax realized what the humans were doing. They weren't here to destroy the Velkari homeworld. They were here to send a message to the entire galaxy. A message that would be remembered for generations. "This demonstration is now complete," Admiral Su Jin continued. "The human fleet will withdraw. The Velkari homeworld will not be harmed. But let this moment be remembered across all the stars. Humanity has announced itself to the galaxy." One by one, the human ships began to disappear. Not by flying away, but by simply vanishing from sensors. In minutes, the entire fleet was gone, leaving the Velkari staring at empty space. But the message had been sent. Across the galaxy, every major government, military force, and trade organization had received the same clear communication. Humans were not prey. They were predators, and they were now a major power in galactic politics. 3 months later, Dr. Ji-hoon and Engineer So-young stood on the observation deck of New Seoul Station, looking out at the stars. Both had been promoted to the Human Defense Council for their role in the victory. "Do you think it worked?" So-young asked. "Look at the communication channels," Ji-hoon replied. 17 different species have sent diplomatic messages requesting trade agreements. 5 governments have offered mutual defense treaties. Even the Andromedan Republic wants to establish formal relations. And the hostile species? Being very quiet, the Velkari defeat has made everyone reconsider the idea of attacking human space. On her desk, So-young had a stack of diplomatic communications. Some were from species wanting to be human allies. Others were from races that wanted to buy human military technology. A few were from governments asking if humans would be willing to help them defend against their own aggressive neighbors. "We've become the galaxy's new military power," she observed. "Good," Ji-hoon said. "Better to be feared and respected than to be seen as easy prey." In the 3 months since the Velkari invasion, human space had changed dramatically. New colonies were being established under the protection of the human fleet. Trade with friendly alien species was booming, and most importantly, no one had tried to invade human territory. The Galactic Trade Consortium had received humanity's first formal diplomatic communication just that morning. It was simple and direct, an application for peaceful trade relations and mutual respect agreements. Attached to the application was a star map clearly marking the boundaries of human space. At the bottom of the map was a single line of text. "Visitors welcome. Invaders become examples." Captain Minho, now promoted to Admiral, was reviewing patrol reports from the edge of human space. His ships had intercepted several alien scout vessels in recent weeks, but all had been peaceful exploration missions or trade expeditions. "Any signs of hostile activity?" Admiral Taeho asked during their weekly briefing. "None, sir. Word of the Velkari defeat has spread throughout this sector. Most species are going out of their way to avoid any actions that might be seen as aggressive toward humans." "What about the Velkari themselves?" "Complete withdrawal from our border regions. Intelligence reports suggest they're dealing with internal rebellions from species they previously conquered. Apparently, seeing the Velkari defeated has inspired others to fight for their freedom." Admiral Taeho smiled. "Sometimes the best way to bring peace is to show that you're too dangerous to fight." The galaxy had learned a new truth. Humans were patient, but when their patience ran out, they became something terrifying. They didn't just win battles. They won wars by breaking their enemies' will to fight. Most species in the galaxy fought for territory, resources, or dominance. Humans fought for something much more dangerous, the right to be left alone. And they were very, very good at protecting that right. 6 months after the Velkari invasion, a new phrase was spreading through the galactic community. When someone mentioned the idea of attacking or threatening a peaceful species, others would warn them, "Don't wake the humans," because everyone now knew that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology, their ships, or their tactics. It was their patience, and what they became when that patience finally ran out. The galaxy was a safer place, not because humans were peaceful, but because everyone now understood that humans were the most dangerous predators in known space, and they protected their home.